It's the Lone Star Conference Virtual Day when it comes to women's basketball. On behalf of the Lone Star Conference, I'm Chris Stu. Steve Gomez joining us, the head coach of the Lady Chaps of Lubbock Christian University. Coach, this is preseason talk. I feel like you've already been in season. You took a trip to Brazil in August, knocked out 3 games. Talk a little bit about that experience and for the folks that know nothing about the Brazilian trip, because this to me wasn't just, hey, here's 3 games and knock them out, scratch them off, and move on. The folks in Brazil created a tournament environment and an experience I think should, I'll say, do wonders for this season, but it's still something valuable to create game-like situations, pressures in the month of August.
Yeah, we've had, in 22 years here, that was one of the best experiences we've had as a team. What a great opportunity. We've made some great trips, had some great times over the years, but to go to Brazil, the way they treated us, the hospitality there, but also just the team bonding, the ability to practice some before school started was just wonderful for the team. But then to get to experience some of the excursions we did, and the setting over there basketball-wise was really good. There's quality basketball in Brazil. And those teams and those clubs that set that up for us really did a great job welcoming us, making us feel very much hospitality. At the same time, we got to play some good games against good opponents. We really played well. You know, after just a few days of practice to go and compete at that level was really encouraging. So it was just a great start to the season. Appreciate Coach Pacheco and some of our families who made that possible. And again, the federation there in Florianopolis and in Brazil was tremendous. Hopefully that'll be a great springboard for the rest of the year.
Well, you take a look at your team, you've almost basically bring back everybody, and then you only have 1 freshman. Different dynamic this year. There's not a lot of teaching, and you do have a freshman that doesn't need much teaching. She looked solid in Brazil, and you know, how does it shape up looking at prior years where it's not like you've got 3 new or 4 new incomers, only 1 new incomer that looks already prepared?
Yeah, pretty unique opportunity to have 13 out of 14 players back. And so that can be really encouraging. I also think we've changed in a way as well. Even our returners have really set their minds to be better. And adding that 1 freshman is helpful. You know, really a good player, good shooter, has picked things up well, because obviously, with a lot of returners, we're not spending a whole lot of time of rehashing what we should already know. But at the same time, there's always something new to learn. And I appreciate the maturity of our returners of taking a challenge to get better and not just think, well, we know what's going on. So hopefully we'll be better in a lot of areas. Their focus has been wonderful. And again, I think that bonding of that trip set the tone really early of, hey, let's get serious about what's ahead. And, you know, season's right around the corner, so there's not, we've got to be ready. And I think they've taken that mindset from the start. So a lot of returners, but at the same time, we want to be different. We want to be better.
How can Grace Foster be different?
Yeah, you know, Grace, she's continuing to learn how to move without the ball. You know, a lot of people, you know, have defended her well. She's had some great seasons, but she has to continue to learn to defend better, you know, to play in space more and not just stand around and wait for the ball to come to her. So we're trying to do all those things, but just the teammates have got to continue to make the game easier for her. You know, we've got a tremendous group of players coming back that have good experience. And so the experience of our point guard, Macy and Audrey Robertson, you know, they've been through some battles, and we have some other kids that have played a lot of minutes, started for us as freshmen. So we'll hope to have a good experienced team that Grace can do what she can do, but doesn't have to do too much.
Well, Lubbock Christian University preseason picked number 2 in the Lone Star Conference, and Coach, that's where everybody notices the 13 out of the 14 players from last year are returning this year. But Coach, that's got to be one of the hardest things when it comes to the Lone Star Conference and the depth, is just filling out that preseason bracket. That's one of the early tough tests of the season, is filling that thing out.
It's almost impossible. I mean, you know, and we've seen the parity over this conference through the years of there's not a game that is a given. So there's not a team that, you know, bottom 3 or 4 teams, they're not bottom teams. They're really competitive, good teams. And so every team has to be on their best game every day. But having some kids back, you know, a lot of teams change a lot over the years, especially these days with so much transiency in college athletics and transfers. So some rosters are different. And so looking over the conference, trying to figure out who's back, you know, some teams have changed a little bit. We haven't changed too much, but hopefully we have changed for the better in some ways of the kids that are back. And so it's not just a rinse and repeat. You can't just expect the same thing to happen every year, or you can't expect the same teams that maybe have had success in the past to have success again, because things can change really quickly.
Coach, best of luck this season.
Thank you, Chris. Look forward to it.
Well, now we're joined by the 12th year senior, Macy Maddox. It seems like you've been here 12 years, and maybe it's just because you've been running around as a rugrat around these parts, watching your other siblings play athletics here at Lubbock Christian University. But this is the last year for you, and what is it like? How is the preparation? Because I want to go back to last year. You're coming off a season where you had lost in the regional championship game to UT Tyler. Everybody's coming back, and you're thinking everything's going to take care of itself. You end up taking a step backwards. You still make the regional tournament in Denton, but unable to get past that first round. So kind of a reset button, I'm sure. How is that feeling this year compared to last year, and then kind of looking back?
Well, kind of like what he said, nothing's given. You know, teams nowadays, everybody's good. So you can't go into a game thinking, oh, this is an automatic win. You've got to go in with the same mindset every single game that you're going to dominate, and it's going to be a tough battle. But with this year, it's real special, like what y'all talked about. 13 out of 14 players are coming back. That's real rare, and I think we need to focus on that and use that as a tool to help us further our season, go further than we did those past 2 years. And I think it'll help us in the end.
What was your takeaway from the trip to Brazil of kind of the 35,000 foot view of not just the experience, but how your team played?
Oh, it was awesome. Such a special opportunity, and thanks to Coach P and everybody down there. But I think it was a great opportunity for us to not only play early and start getting going, but for us to bond. 13 out of 14 players came back, but Maddie, I think she's already, from the very beginning, she kind of meshed real well with us, and that's something that is very important for our team and for us just to go on during the season, because we're a very close-knit team, and I think that's one of our strengths, and getting to start early will help us.
Yeah, Maddie Moyers is the only freshman on this team, and she's kind of a foreigner coming in from Colorado, not one of the local area West Texas players that you're accustomed to seeing as part of a freshman crew. Well, how do you go with this season and have your goals set, but not think too much about last time kind of stuff? You don't want it to be the last time. Right. You have to take that last game approach at some point, but you don't want to let that moment settle in. How are you kind of juggling that, or are you just kind of just taking it minute by minute?
Well, I mean, it is sad it's the last year, and with that in the back of your mind, you want every day to be the best it can be. You don't have any regrets, and I think with this year, we have a special group, and, don't focus on the last or the sad things. Focus on, hey, let's win today, and let's do that every single day.
Go 1-0 today. I think yes, I've heard that before, part of this program. Macy, best of luck this season.
You.
Well, that's a look at LCU women's basketball. Don't forget, new way to follow LCU athletics this season when it comes to competition watching online, whether it's on your phone, a Roku, online browser. Flow Sports is the place to watch LCU athletics this season. To find those links, go to lcushaps.com.